Derick Dillard says he was ambushed by photo with Jim Bob Duggar on Christmas. Jill Duggar and Derick Dillard may have been at the big house for Christmas, but it wasn't a merry time for all. In fact, Derick wants to clarify that no reconciliation has happened despite the couple's attendance at the family event. Speculation arose that the Counting On couple may have reconciled with Jill's parents because of a photo taken by James Duggar that captured them talking to Jim Bob Duggar at the big house. Jill and Derick have been open about their strained relationship with her parents, talking about it on podcasts, writing a book about what happened to Jill while growing up filming the show, and hosting various Q&A sessions. Derick is his wife's biggest champion, and he has done his best to stand up for her. He attended every day of Josh Duggar's trial, listening to everything in detail and for himself, even the part about what Josh did to his sisters decades ago. Now, he is doing it again by setting the record straight about what really happened at the big house for Christmas. Derick Dillard calls out ambush after people ran a story about Derick Dillard and Jill Duggar being photographed speaking to Jim Bob Duggar during Christmas, the attorney commented on the publication's Instagram post. While Derick didn't name James Duggar, he did allude to the fact that he is the one who has ambushed him 2 years in a row while snapping photos. Derick said, "I don't think being ambushed, by being unknowingly photographed with someone you're at odds with and do not respect, is considered mingling. The truth is that Jim Bob approached me while we were there on Christmas Day, and that is when the photo was taken. I have spoken to Jim Bob less than 10 minutes since the last time I was at that house over a year ago, and I happened to be photographed, unbeknownst to me, by the same person then as well. There were over 100 people, the house is 8,000 square feet, and Santa Claus was there, so this isn't your typical intimate family gathering. We're trying to be civil for the sake of our family, but that doesn't mean everything is all hunky-dory, and it sure doesn't mean that I'm not going to comment when people try to warp reality for their own purposes." The ambush Derick is referring to is found in this carousel shared by James Duggar. Slide 3 features Jim Bob Duggar talking to Derick and Jill while they sit on the couch. Jill Duggar and Derick Dillard spent time with Duggars for Jinger Duggar's birthday. The couple participated in Jinger Duggar's birthday celebration at Top Golf. They were caught on film for Ginger's vlog, and Jill was in the sisters' photos that were taken and shared with the public. Jill Duggar and Derick Dillard want to preserve some family relationships for their children, so they have fostered spending time with certain siblings and attending their weddings. However, repairing things with Jim Bob doesn't top their to-do list. Shiny Happy People. Duggar Family Secrets is currently streaming on Prime Video. Derick Dillard denies mingling with Jim Bob Duggar on Christmas, says he and wife Jill were ambushed and photographed by James Duggar to make things look hunky-dory. Counting On fans were surprised when photos emerged online on Christmas showing Jill and Derick Dillard seemingly chatting with Jill's estranged father Jim Bob Duggar during a family holiday gathering. However, Derick recently aimed to set the record straight about the encounter, taking to Instagram to inform people about what was really going on when those photos were taken. As the Ashley has previously reported, Jill and Derick have been estranged from Jim Bob for years, with the tension presumably increasing after the 2023 release of Jill and Derick's tell-all book about the Duggar family. The couple's book, Counting the Cost, recounts what the Dillards claim is the real story behind Jill's family and their TLC shows, with many of the stories painting Jim Bob in a negative light. While many fans thought the Christmas photos meant Jill and Derick had called a truce with Jim Bob, Derick made it clear that this is not the case. Instead, he claimed that a Duggar family member purposely snapped the pics unbeknownst to Derick and Jill, to make it appear that things in the family were all good. Derick surfaced in the comment section of People magazine's Instagram post about the photos, which contained a headline about the Dillards mingling with Jimmy B. "I don't think being ambushed, by being unknowingly photographed with someone you're at odds with and do not respect, is considered mingling," Derick wrote, before going on to suggest that Jim Bob purposely set up the situation so that the pictures could be snapped. The photos were posted by Jill's brother James, who, coincidentally, also posted photos last Christmas to show that Derick and Jill were at the Duggar house on Christmas. Those photos did not include Jim Bob and were seemingly taken without Jill and Derick's knowledge. "The truth is that Jim Bob approached me while we were there on Christmas Day, and that is when the photo was taken," Derick wrote. "I have spoken to Jim Bob less than 10 minutes since the last time I was at that house over a year ago, and I happened to be photographed, unbeknownst to me, by the same person then as well." Derick also clarified that the festivities at the Duggar home were overrun with people, kids and even jolly old street Nick, so he and Jill were not spending quality one-on-one time with Jim Bob, despite how it looked in the photos. There were over 100 people, the house is 8,000 square feet, and Santa Claus was there, so this isn't your typical intimate family gathering, Derick wrote, before adding that he isn't going to let people, cough Jim Bob, manipulate the situation to look a certain way. We're trying to be civil for the sake of our family, but that doesn't mean everything is all hunky-dory, and it sure doesn't mean that I'm not going to comment when people try to warp reality for their own purposes, Derick said. The Ashley would like to point out that in the past, the Duggars have used people as their media mouthpiece to release stories about their family. In November, Jill shared on social media that her relationship with her mom and dad remains complicated, but that she is trying to keep them in her life. I feel like we are in a rebuilding phase now, with healthy boundaries still in place, she explained. Jinger Duggar Vuolo wanted to share from my own heart, as she candidly details struggles with people pleasing in new book, exclusive. The former reality star's new book, People Pleaser, Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations, comes out on January 14th. Jinger Duggar Vuolo's latest book is unlike anything she's written in the past. In People Pleaser, Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations, out January 14th from Thomas Nelson, the former Counting On star candidly details her struggles with people pleasing, stemming from a belief she wasn't enough that started in childhood. I was more of the child who just wanted to get along with everyone, she tells People exclusively. Even in the family, I would not try to ruffle anyone's feathers. I just wanted to keep everybody happy with me all the time, Jinger, now 31, continues. I think in my teenage years it started to be more prevalent because at that point, you're starting to process a lot more. There was so much that was drilled into you through what he said about trying to please your husband, and if you don't, he's going to leave you, she recalls. It was also focused on, do this, otherwise, you're not going to be enough for him. Jinger credits her husband, Jeremy Vuolo, with whom she shares daughters Felicity, 6, and Evangeline, 3, and is currently expecting a third child, for helping to dismantle her long-held feeling of unworthiness. He really challenged me just to be myself. That gave me so much freedom to be able to open up and be vulnerable, she says. For more from Jinger Duggar Vuolo, pick up the latest issue of People on newsstands Friday, or subscribe here. As she details her journey to overcoming being a people pleaser in her latest book, Jinger has learned the importance of speaking her mind along the way, no matter what anyone has to say about it. On social media, there will be people who say stuff to any of us. They'll say things that are unkind, they'll have their own ideas of why I might do something. She explains, but I wanted to be able to share from my own heart, my personal experiences of how motherhood has gone, how postpartum has been for me, and just break it down and say, okay, we don't all have these perfectly curated lives, she continues, and I think that everybody needs to see that and understand we don't need to keep up this facade of who we want people to think we are, but we need to be genuine and real. Never miss a story. Sign up for People's free daily newsletter to stay up to date on the best of what People has to offer, from juicy celebrity news to compelling human interest stories. People Pleaser, Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations comes out on January 14th and is available now for pre-order, wherever books are sold.